Okay, this might be a little bit of a rant because I am admittedly radicalized on this front by now. So yeah, if you don't want to rant, then like scroll on. I don't think you'll ever get paid what you're worth while you're an employee, because this is super common. And like they talk about the shrinking middle class now, where we're all going to work, working longer hours, getting paid less. And a little bit, I'm not that surprised. Because like tiny history lesson, the only reason the middle class appeared in the first place was what they call the petit bourgeois. I'm probably saying that wrong. It's French, whatever. But basically the middle class were created when people started making their own businesses. Shopkeepers, artisans, people went out on their own and started making these little small businesses, and that's when the middle class was created. That's when we changed from like super rich people up here, all the peasants down here. The middle class arrived when people started making their own little shops, their own little businesses. But when you're working for a salary, they're going to try and work you as hard as they can for as little money as they can. And you often have these layers of middle managers over you who also need to get paid, but they don't actually often produce anything. Meanwhile, if this is you and you know that you're only getting paid a certain amount, but you can get charged out at more or you're producing more value than that, you have already had the test case of whether or not your small business would work. And so I'm kind of like, why don't you just go out on your own and do it yourself? You get to keep all the reward. You set your own hours often. You might work a little bit harder, but you get so much more reward. Take it from someone who was a super loyal employee for years. I was so happy there. I bent over backwards for them and they still screwed me. But it did me the biggest favor because I left, set up my own small business to do what I was doing anyway, but on my own terms. And now I make way more money than I did before. I have way more work-life balance than before. And the work I produce is work I'm happier with because I'm not having to live to someone else's standards, which are frankly silly. So basically, if you feel like you're being underpaid, if you feel like you work really hard and don't get enough reward, I'm just saying the small business life is really good. And it might be the answer to your problems.